An old Big East rival meets up with the Mountaineers in the St. Johns Red Storm, and I have arguably not only their most knowledgeable fan, but maybe one of the most knowledgeable fans of all time. Former ESPN personality Howie Schwab will be joining me today to talk about this game, preview it, talk about Pitino, the whole thing. Stick around, guys. You don't want to miss this episode of Hoops from the Hills right after this word from our sponsor.
This episode of Hoops from the Hills is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory today across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you.
What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. This is another edition of Hoops from the Hills, and we can't thank you guys enough for supporting this show. Everything you do for us allows us to do what we do as fans. And today, as a fan, I get to do something that I never thought I would ever get to do. And this is right up there with one of my biggest highlights. Somebody I grew up watching and still admire today. Former ESPN personality, multiple-time champion. He was 64 and 16, I believe it was, on his own show, which was called Stump Schwab. Obviously, we're talking about Howie Schwab himself. How's it going, man?
Hey, Paul. Thank you for the kind words. That was very nice of you. Been a while since I was on, but that's okay. And life is still good, so can't complain. Go St.Johns.
How many bags of chips would you give my intro?
Intro, I'd give 5. I thought it was outstanding. This game, I'd give
awesome.
I'd give 4 for this game.
Okay, yeah, 4 for the game. So, and if you guys don't know, he had a really popular segment that preluded his time on Stump the Schwab on cold pizza, which had turned into a few different things. It is now what they know as First Take. And he would give basically the things to watch over the weekend sports-wise on a scale of 1 to 5 bags of chips. It was called the couch potato segment. And it was something I really looked forward to. And then they kind of parlayed that over into what most of us grew to love, which was your show. So let's talk a little bit about that before we get into the game, Howie. What was it like to have your own show on ESPN with obviously, in my opinion, the greatest, the greatest guy in the booth, in my opinion, ever, Stuart Scott at ESPN. I mean, there's a couple guys you can name, but in my opinion, he's on the Mount Rushmore. And just what was that experience like for you personally?
It was amazing. First of all, the start of it was interesting because I got a phone call one day from the vice president of ESPN, Mark Shapiro, said, come on to his office. And I'm like, okay, what's this about? He said, do you know why you're here? I said, I would guess it's something to do with Vital because I worked very closely with Dickie V. And in fact, only recently stopped due to health issues. But I mean, the show itself, they said, oh, we're doing a new show. It's called Stump the Schwab. You're on. Huh? Okay. I said one thing. I said, I win, I lose, I lose. I'll just have fun with it. And that's what I did. And fortunately, back then, I was so intense in my knowledge of everything that it helped me a lot. I mean, when we played the game, if there were tennis questions, that's right up my alley. I love tennis. I love boxing. The main sports, of course. So, college basketball is my favorite right now because I did so much work with Vital. But it was just a great experience. So much fun. We did it for 4 years. And Stuart was amazing. Not only a great host, but a great human being. And I got to see his 2 girls grow up in front of me. And they're great. And unfortunately, Stuart, obviously the cancer got him, and he was a fighter, and he was was just great. It was great to work with. I mean, we had so much fun in the studio. There were times they said, you have to come in early. We're testing the lights. We're testing angles. We're testing how we're shooting. And we came in and we just had a blast. It was a lot of fun. One time, I'll never forget this. Stuart, they were talking about doing a skit on the last show of, I think it was season 1 or 2. And they had a body double, and I was going to do little gymnastics. and actually, that still exists on YouTube. I have seen it, and I laugh about it. And Stuart said, "Oh, yeah?" And then Stuart goes running up and does a somersault. I'm like, oh, my God. It was hysterical. But we had so much fun. 4 of the best seasons of my life being involved in that show. Great people involved. I enjoyed most of the competitors. And it was fun. I just had a good time. Hey, I got beat 16 times. People are surprised. Oh, you lost that much? I did. I'm human. What can I say? There were times I was like, oh, my God, this is tough.
But what people don't – oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
What people don't understand is the competition you were going up against. These weren't just average Joes. These are sports writers.
Very good. The fans who competed, and then we had a couple of shows where we had sports writers. I mean, it was intense. You're in the studio and the lights are on. And the first thing I did when they told me we're doing the show, I met with the producers and I went down to New York. They said, we're going to show you what it's about. We have a stunt. We have people that double in and they're going to play you. I said, no. Let me get used to this right now. Let me get used to the lights. Let me get used to the seat. Let me get used to how I'm doing this. And within 5 minutes, I felt very comfortable. And I thought that was a definite advantage because a couple of people went on the show. I remember the question was name last 15 NL Cy Young Award winners. First guy he said was from the American League. So he was out. And he was pretty good. But comfort zone helps.
Oh, yeah, that's home field advantage, if you will.
Yep.
So, for you at that point in time.
Seems that way.
I remember one of the questions were, name all the universities that have a color in their mascot name.
Okay, great.
And there was Cornell Big Red.
Yeah.
And you named every single one.
I have to think about it now. It's
yeah, of course. You were
Blue Demons, Blue Devils. There have been some wacky questions over the years. I'm like, okay, let's think about it and try. And these days, I don't worry that much about trivia, so it's okay. And I laugh.
So
people who say, "Oh, I could beat you," and they beat me, I go, "Good, congrats, you beat me." Yay.
Yeah, and that's all you can do. I mean, at the end of the day, I look at the record, the 64. That's just to me really impressive.
Yeah.
And something that's probably not likely to be duplicated, especially with the difficulty of these questions. Now, these weren't easy questions.
A staff of writers, a staff of researchers, and they threw them at me.
This is something you were known for in your years leading up to. It's not like they knew how good you were. You started with the website. You started the whole thing. You were there for 20 years, probably before this started. 26.
Before it started, it was close to 20. Yeah.
And so people knew it was obviously well known around the compound that you were very knowledgeable in these areas. It's what you did, basically. It was kind of like what you were known for.
What I was told was someone came up with the idea of the show, and they said, who would be the guy? And everyone said me. So that's
right.
Which I'm proud of. Back then, because I've been out of ESPN now for 10 years. Back then, sports was by far my main thing. Since then, unfortunately, my first wife passed away. I got remarried. I moved to Florida. And now my life is enjoy time with my wife, enjoy things, but still watch a lot of games.
Yeah. How do you think Skip Bayless would have done on a show like Stump the Schwab?
He would have been okay. I mean, Skip's a pretty smart guy. I don't know how he'd do necessarily on trivia, but he's certainly opinionated. And,
Yeah.
I
He's known as a.
I got along fine with Skip when he was there. When we did Couch Potato, he was obviously on with First Take. And
Yeah.
he was fine. I got along all right with him. I know some other people have not, but that's okay.
Right. Well, as opinionated as he is, that's going to happen,
Yeah.
So let's talk about this game a little bit, man. Obviously, have you followed the West Virginia situation with Raekwon Battle and the transfer? Obviously, we've had 3 transfers get denied.
Yeah.
Raekwon Battle being a very unique situation. I guess I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the Bob Huggins situation. I'm sure as a sports fan, Bob Huggins has the respect of so many people.
Yeah.
But did you think the university handled that correctly after everything that went down like it did?
Yeah, not totally. First of all, it's so weird seeing a West Virginia team without Bob Huggins. No Huggy Bear on the sideline. It's strange.
It is strange.
I mean, how many people across America know about Coach Eilert? I mean, really, it's just bizarre.
Yeah.
I thought both sides did not handle that situation well. I mean, Huggins threatening to sue and threatening to all sorts of things, and it was a mess, and it's a shame because I thought they had potential to have a pretty good team coming in, then guys not being able to get in, and then the thing that's interesting, and West Virginia and St. Johns have the same situation, getting the chemistry right with so many new people. I mean, Jesse Edwards came in. Jesse Edwards is a hell of a player. And the Edwards-Soriano matchup will be great. They've met before. But you have to have the chemistry. And now with St. John's, Pitino's got the same thing. He has so many new players. I mean, he can go 10 to 12 deep easily, but you have to have the chemistry of guys being willing to play their roles, guys being able to make the right passes, make the right defensive moves, make the adjustments. That's not easy. And you've seen that early in the season with both teams at times.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the Bellarmine game was a war for West Virginia. The Monmouth game was a shocker. But then again, they almost beat Virginia. So which team is going to show up? And the St. John's thing, similar thing. I mean, everyone was really excited going in the Michigan game. Close first half. Then there's a spurt. And then, boom, they get blown out. Dayton game, same thing. A spurt, and then, boom. St. John's, one thing I've noticed, there have been several games where they've allowed 10-0, 11-0, 12-0 spurts that change the game. It even happened in the Holy Cross game. I mean, they won by 40, but yet they had an 11-0 run on them, and Holy Cross was leading by 8-10 points in the first half. Fortunately, that didn't hold up, but St. John's played, I thought, their best game from that point on. But it's a real interesting matchup because both teams are proud schools. Both teams have great fans. West Virginia's always been a very tough place to play. Morgantown for football and basketball. Fans have been great, and it's a home court advantage. But I think St. John's has the potential to be okay in that game.
I do too. It's a depth thing for West Virginia. We play 7 players.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, and Kirk Risa obviously not being there, he's an incredible point guard and basketball player. Obviously playing in Arizona for a few years.
Look what he did at Arizona. He was a difference maker. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. So and they're missing him. So I think a lot of West Virginia fans are a little down on the Mountaineers right now. But I think if we can come out of this thing 500, come out of this thing somewhere in that range, and then you get I don't know about a Cook. Obviously, that's a huge loss as well. You know, he was the preseason Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East before he
Yep.
transferred to West Virginia, and so you know he has we think a heart issue, and God forbid I don't want to force him into play, and they say he's in family's hands. But if somehow he gets right, and there are people that are hopeful, along with Raekwon Battle and Kirk Carissa, then you're talking about a team that's got some potential again. I don't know how much, but maybe Josh Allen keeps his job at that point. But Gordon Gee has gone on record and said, hey, if he wins the national championship, I'm still probably going to do a coaching search. Yeah, no, that's a crazy thing to say. So obviously you're an FAU supporter as well. And
I like FAU a lot. I live about an hour away. I live in Aventura, Florida. Boca's about an hour away. And I went to several games last year, and early on I could tell this team played as a team. They were unselfish. They didn't mind who made the shot. They wanted to just win. And Dusty May has done an incredible job. And all these people I was saying, this team could be potentially very dangerous come tournament time. And they were laughing.
There's no doubt.
Suddenly weren't laughing at me. Vital was giving me grief. I said, they're a top 25 team. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Finally, they were. And then getting all the way into the Final Four, and they should have beaten San Diego State. I mean, they were up 14 in that game. And in the end, that three-point shot was like a dagger in the heart. But and then this year they lost to Bryant, which was ridiculous. I think they were 3 for 25 shooting threes. And
that was a wild one for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that would
was
happen.
One of those, but you know what? Hey, Chaminade beat Virginia. You never know. It happens.
You never know. Yes. And then you look at the performance they put up against Virginia Tech.
Yep.
Which was just a meat grinder for Virginia Tech.
I mean, and the way they beat A&M was a ranked team. They beat them and put up 90-plus points. So that tells you a lot. And between Janelle Davis and Elijah Martin and Vlad inside, Golden.
Golden's a good player.
Very legitimate scorers right there. And then the other guys, I mean, they sat in Orlando without Nick Boyd. Nick Boyd averages about 11 a game. So Florida Atlantic's going to be a nice team. And that Florida Atlantic-Memphis rivalry will become something special.
As this thing moves along, Howie, I think it's going to be hard obviously the contract extension is there for Dusty May, but I don't think anybody believes with 100% certainty that if the right thing comes along that he wouldn't move along. I don't know how you feel about that, but do you think a West Virginia job would be good for Dusty May?
Potentially. Here's the thing. If you're happy with where you are, be happy. You're getting paid well. You're living in Boca Raton, Florida. So in December, the weather's 75. Thank you. You walk around in shorts, and you've built a good program. It's like Mark Few at Gonzaga. He's built the program to the point where why would he go anywhere else? I mean, I remember Jim Valvano told me something once. I worked with Jimmy a lot at ESPN. Jimmy said, it's one thing to get paid a lot more, but happiness is the most important thing with coaching. I mean, he told me once, I don't think this is on a public record, but he talked to Wichita State and he thought about it, but NC State was the right fit for him. He enjoyed the players. He enjoyed the lifestyle. His family enjoyed being in Carolina. And so that was that. And I think that was a smart move.
We're talking about two teams. Can you tell the West Virginia viewers just a little bit about St. John's? Talk about that starting five, because obviously Pitino brought some peeps with him from the old job at Iona. I think the starting guard is from Iona. Am I right about that?
Jenkins, yes.
Yeah, and so and then you look at West Virginia's roster, and Quinn Slazinski looks like he probably should have came.
Same time.
Yeah, Quinn Slazinski has really blossomed, and really, really just turned into a good player for West Virginia. Never would have thought it, But yeah, talk about that St. John's team a little bit and kind of what they do, what they're trying to accomplish
Well,
as a Rick Pitino coach team.
Rick basically gutted the program in terms of the talent. He didn't bring back Posh Alexander. He didn't bring back Adaiwusu. He didn't bring back David Jones, who's doing well at Memphis. But he wanted his own chemistry. He wanted players he felt comfortable with. And that's why Rick Pitino's a Hall of Fame coach. He brought back Joel Soriano, who's by far the best player, and he's the captain. The big man inside is a guy who is a double-double kind of guy. So him and Edwards will have a great matchup, and both of them could have double-doubles in this game. Wouldn't show.
Oh, yeah.
But up front, they have Chris Ludlam, who played at Harvard, who almost went to Tennessee, and now is at St. John's.
He's a good player.
Good rebounder, has not scored as well as they thought, has not shot as well as they thought. Jenkins, you mentioned, he's been the point guard so far. He came from Iona. He's done a nice job, can shoot also. Dingle is the best guard they have. He came from Penn, second leading scorer in America last year. He was hurt. Now he's healthy, so that helps. Those are the main guys of the starters. I mean, he also starts he plays Glenn Taylor a lot, who's a transfer from Oregon State. Very good athlete, good scorer, good rebounder, good in transition. The thing I like about St. John's is the depth. Because, in some of these physical games, you're going to have battles. He'll play guys like the last game he played, I think 9 guys, 13 or more minutes. So guys are getting minutes, and that helps. In the past, they didn't have fresh legs in the games, and they were tired in the second half. Mike Anderson's teams had problems with that. Pitino's won't. And I think that's an advantage. This team's better at threes than recent teams, though they've had a couple of games where they were sluggish. They're better on the foul line than some of these teams. And they're the same old St. John's in terms of getting steals and converting baskets on the fast break off their defense. I think that's very important for St. John's. But the depth is what's really nice. He has guys who could start elsewhere, who are coming off the bench and making a positive difference.
This is probably going to be a team that might only win 19 or 20 games in the regular season. It's going to be incredibly dangerous come tournament time because of the chemistry development.
I think once they've played together for a whole season and they're used to each other and they understand their roles, I'm curious to see how many kids don't transfer.
Like, those guys don't come along very often.
Right.
And he's won a national title. He knows what it takes to do it, although this day and age is a little bit different than the Wildcat team he won it with. It's still coaching at the end of the day. It's still player development. And I think that's something that Pitino did. Obviously, motivation is something he does almost as good or better than anybody. And then you throw in
adjustments, too.
Yeah, adjustments. But it's the New York connection for me that kind of excites me when I look at this, because I don't hate St. John's, obviously, and I love Pitino. So just tell me a little bit about the New York connection here. What's it been like as a St. John's super fan to have the most New York guy you could possibly have on the sidelines?
Well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Like that Iona, I had heard rumors that St. John's would be an interesting fit and that he was interested. So that doesn't shock me. I mean, he grew up in Long Island. He coached early and then started when he started BU and then eventually Providence. And I mean, Rick Pitino, New York is his lifestyle, and New York is perfect for him. And he wants to win in New York because, being on the back page of the New York Post would probably be a thrill. And he wants to build a winner in New York because he sees the potential with Madison Square Garden, where the Islanders play.
Oh yeah,
Games there.
Brooklyn.
Carter Arena is an antiquated, smaller building. And as much as I love spending a lot of time there over the years, you'd rather play in front of 18,000 people and just have a following and have a fan base that's really excited and traveling. And a lot of fans travel down to Charleston for this tournament. They struggled with North Texas and got a win, lost to Dayton, but then beat a decent Utah team. A Utah team that beat St. Mary's last night. So, and Utah's very big, have a Carlson up front, and so that was a quality win.
No, and I think potential for more. I think you especially going into the next year, we'll see what Pitino does. But I think it's exciting. The Big East is a fun conference to watch this year, and I think this is a good matchup. West Virginia bringing back the all black uniforms for the first time in a long time.
Wow.
They're having a blackout, so I think that's going to be fun. The crowd's going to be into it. It's like I said, that Big East flavor to it, which I think, I miss the Big East so much. I'm sure you do too.
Back then, it was such a great thing with the rivalries. Syracuse, Georgetown, St. John's. I mean, it's just
so fun.
And the coaches, Thompson, Boeheim, Louis, Massimino.
Beeline or Huggins, depending on which time,
Yep. Oh, yeah. Great stuff. And it will bring back memories of the West Virginia St. John's game. Definitely.
John Beeline was that close to getting that job, by the way.
Yes.
West Virginia. It'd have been interesting to see him, but the players said they were going to transfer. So, man, Howie. So, where can everybody find you these days? I think, you hide on Twitter, man. You just kind of talk about your basketball, talk about your sports, you support your teams. But where can everybody find you on?
I don't worry about that. I don't worry how many people follow me. Hopefully the people who follow me enjoy me. And I enjoy them, whatever. But I'm a little bit less, I'm more low-key these days because I had a real health scare. Back in June, I almost died. The night of the Celtic Heat Game 7, my wife came in to the bedroom and said, "You look white as a ghost. I'm taking you to the hospital." I'm like, "What?" "I want to watch the game." "I don't care. I'm calling in the ambulance service that is around here." Took me to the hospital, ran some tests, found I had a blood clot and fluid in my heart and lungs. And that if I didn't come in that night, I would have been dead the next day. That's a wake-up call, folks.
That's a woman's intuition.
Yeah, well, she's amazing, my wife. The bottom line is I feel better. I eat better. Exercise, unfortunately, is a little tougher because I'm still using a wheelchair because of a foot injury I had. I had foot surgery about a year ago. And you play your cards and you just enjoy every day. That's what I say. Go out and have fun and enjoy life. I love sports. I love all sports. I love putting on a game and, oh, wow, it's a 2-point game with a minute left. Great, let me watch this. And just enjoy. And enjoy things like this. It's been a lot of fun, Paul. And
it's been great.
St.Johns beats West Virginia, but if not, hey, it's a regular season game. It's okay.
Is there any? So how is Dickie? Real quick, how is Dickie before we get off here? How is Dickie V and everything? How's he holding up?
Okay, well, he's gone through a lot.
Yeah,
obviously, he's chronicled the cancer situation online and been very public about it. Right now, the cancer is gone, and that's the best thing to say. However, the throat is not 100%. He is not able to do games yet. He was originally scheduled to do the Miami-Kentucky game on the 26th. But
he's not doing it?
No, he's not. He would probably, if I were to guess, I would say the earliest we would see Dick doing games would be February. That would be my guess. But he might try to do it earlier. He actually did something on Twitter the other day, and you could hear his voice is not great, and to have to call a game for 2 hours would be very tough. So
and
that'd be a while.
yeah, and for it to go out on him during the game would be even worse.
Yep.
So better just be prepared. Well, man, I would love to talk to him someday, and maybe I'll get my chance to do that. But I can't thank you enough for coming on, man. This has fulfilled just a really cool,
my pleasure. Well, that's very
bucket list for me. Really this has been a bucket list thing for me to talk to the greatest of all time. As far as I'm concerned, in sports trivia, nobody ever did it better. So be rooting for you guys on beyond this game for sure, man. And thanks for coming on. Like I said, let's stay in contact with each other as the season goes along.
Well, I'll be happy to do it again anytime.
Sounds great, Howie. Everybody follow Howie Schwab on Twitter. If you just type his name into the search bar, it will come up and you'll notice him. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining. Thanks for watching this interview with Howie Schwab, one of the greats over at ESPN for so many years, now living in Florida, getting to live out. He gets to go to FAU games. He's living a pretty cool life right now.
Hey, it's in the 70s today. Okay, not too bad.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let us know your score prediction for the game. As the St. Johns.
Hey, take care of Paul, everybody. Paul's great. It's been a lot of fun. Subscribe.
Awesome.
Take care of him.
Thanks,
Mountaineer fans are great.
Damn right. We are great. And we'll talk to you again soon.
My pleasure, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.